Okay, I've managed to get out that bit of a split pin. Gripped it with a pair of wire cutters, like that, just on there, and just kept gently levering it with loads of freeing oil and forced it out. Now, we've got a bottle jack in between that leg. I've cut a spacer and put in there to take the play out of here so that I don't crack this piece here. And I'm just going to put a bit of weight on it with the jack handle. And that's like a 3-ton jack. So pumping it up, and that peg is starting to move. Look, it's just starting to move. So now what I'm going to do is carry on adding a little bit of weight with the bottle jack, a little bit of pressure, and I flick it over, got a hammer and a punch, and I'm just whacking that bottom yoke. And it's just a process. I'm not jacking it really hard, because if you look at the gimbal housing really carefully, as I'm jacking it up, you can see it flexing. So, and then when I give that a whack, you can see a cloud of aluminium corrosion coming out around that pin as it pings out a bit. So I don't want to crack anything or break it, so I'm just sort of trying to go gently, a little bit at a time, sort of just every time I whack this, it's just springing out a few millimeters. So it's not like forcing it out. I'm trying not to crack anything as well, because it's all cast aluminium. I'm a bit worried that if I crack any of this, I'm going to be shot in the foot. So it's just gently apply a bit of pressure, and then it goes. It keeps going, and we're away now. The jack has just pushed that pin all the way at the bottom. What's left now, I can pull out. There's the pin. That's the bottom swivel pin. I've got it out, finally. So now I'm gonna turn my attention to this top swivel pin. Now, as you can see, in the bottom of the top swivel pin, it's threaded. That's a 7/16 UNC thread. So I've got a first 7/16 UNC tap. This is a tapered tap, and I'm going to use that to start to clean the threads out. And basically I'm just winding it in with a spanner, because I can't get a die on the end of the tap to rotate it in. You've got to be a bit careful using a spanner on the end of a tap, because you want the tap to run in square, or otherwise you stand a chance of damaging the threads that you're trying to clean out. I can't afford to damage the threads, because if I damage the threads when I try and pull the pin out, I might just pull the threads out. Now I've gone in with the tapered tap. Now I'm going in with a plug tap to clean the threads out all the way down to the bottom of the hole. I've wound it until it stopped at the bottom of the hole and pulled it out, and there's all the rust and gunk that was in the threads. This is a 7/16 UNC piece of threaded bar. Really struggled to get this. In the end, I had to order it off the internet. Went in a few sort of bolt stockists. Couldn't seem to get any of this anywhere. So I've had to order it off eBay. And anyway, it's come. So I'm going to make a bit of a homemade puller. I've got a 3/4 inch drive socket that is bigger than the pin. And I've got a washer on behind it. And I'm just tightening that nut down on the threaded bar, which is in the top of that pin. And it's just gently pulling that pin out. So now I've got the pin starting to move. I'm going to get this nut off the top of the steering yoke. I managed to get the nut off the side of the steering yoke and give it a whack in there with a chisel. So the yoke is actually now coming loose on the top of that top swivel pin. I've now got the nut loose on the top of the swivel pin, so that now I can just keep on tightening up that nut on that threaded bar behind that socket, which is pulling out that swivel pin, that top swivel pin. Now it's just going to keep going with that spanner for a bit, making sure that the yoke is still free on the other end, that it's not bit. And I'm just undoing it now because I don't want to damage anything. I really can't afford to crack or split anything, so I'm just having a look in there to make sure that that pin is moving and I'm not stressing or bending anything, and it does seem to be moving. So I'm going to get my spanner and I'm going to keep on going. So keep on going now until I pull that top swivel pin out of that housing and into my 3/4 inch drive socket. And as I'm pulling it on the spanner, as the pin is sliding out, it's getting easier to turn the spanner, because obviously there's less grip in the pin as it comes out, to a point that it just all starts to come nice and loose and it works its way out until you got it.
Got it.
And there it is. That's out. You see how that pin's gone up inside that socket? So that's how I've pulled this pin out. So I've just unwind the nut off it. Now unwind the threaded bar at the end of this top swivel pin. And that's it. That's all out. Quite a bit of aluminium corrosion and crap around that. But now I can lift out my gimbal housing, and instead of having one bit that's corroded together, I've got two bits that need attention. Now I'm going to concentrate on this bolt, which is one of the top clamp bolts for the yoke, for the steering yoke. And I've just got that long bar on it, and I'm just working it backwards and forwards gently, and I'm keeping an eye on the bottom of the bolt as I'm doing this to make sure that the whole of the bolt is turning. Keep spraying loads of Freenol on it, and eventually I can spin it until the bolt comes out, and that's it. I've got the bolt out now, so I'm good to go. Right, well there you go. It's all coming apart slowly. Start to employ the oldest tool in the box. Neanderthals used these when they first got a stone and hit another stone with it. It hasn't developed a lot. They've only put a stick on the stone, if you think about it, but still the best tool to have to get something apart that is stuck. Thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate it. Appreciate your comments. Any words of support, they're always brilliant. Any comments, offer and advice as well, really appreciate those. Thanks a lot. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget, subscribe if you want more. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. There is a Facebook page called Keith's Broken Boats now, linked to this channel. I am a bit of a Facebook novice, so bear with me on it, but hopefully that will grow as my project sort of progresses. Thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.